Ever feel like you just need the essentials on a complex market, like right now, without wading through pages and pages of reports? That's exactly what we do here. Welcome to the Deep Dive. We dig through the data so you don't have to.
Yeah.
Today, we're tackling the Global Bioprocess Technology Market. We're basing this on a 2025 report.
Exactly. And bioprocess technology, it's basically about using living systems, cells, enzymes, microbes even, to make things.
Right, things like medicines?
Crucial medicines, yes, but also food ingredients or maybe greener ways to deal with environmental problems. The core tools are things like bioreactors.
Okay, like sophisticated vats?
Kind of, yeah. Very carefully controlled environments for these biological processes. And fermentation, too, which is an ancient process, but now done with incredible precision.
Got it. So our mission today, give you the key insights: market size, growth, the why behind it, the hurdles, what's new and exciting, and who's doing what where, all the important stuff, but keeping it manageable. And just to give you a scale up front, this market in 2025, already huge.
Yeah.
USD 26,241.5 million.
And the growth trajectory is, well, it's pretty impressive. The projection for 2033 is USD 67,330.03 million.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, that translates to a compound annual growth rate, a CAGR, of 12.50% starting from 2025. So really substantial expansion.
Okay, let's lock that in. Over $26 billion in 2025, growing at 12.5% a year. What's the main thing pushing that number up?
The report is very clear on this. It boils down to the increasing demand for biologics.
Biologics, the drugs made from living sources.
Precisely. They're becoming vital for treating all sorts of conditions, chronic diseases like rheumatoid arthritis, some cancers. The need for these complex molecules is really what's fueling the need for the technology to make them.
Okay, that makes total sense. Better, more targeted drugs need better, more complex manufacturing. So geographically, where's the hub for all this? Where's the activity concentrated?
Well, in 2025, North America was the leader, holding over 40% of the global market share. That's about USD 9,709.36 million.
Over 40%. Okay.
And their growth is solid, too, projected at a 10.9% CAGR through 2033. The U.S. is, unsurprisingly, the main engine there, USD 7,660.68 million market, growing at 10.7%.
Right.
But Canada and Mexico are significant contributors, too.
Right. And what about Europe's position?
Europe holds a big chunk, too, over 30% of the global market. That was about USD 7,610.04 million in 2025, and they're expected to grow at 11.5% annually.
Similar growth to North America, then.
Pretty close, yeah. Key players there are the UK, almost $1.3 billion and growing at 12.3%, and Germany, just over $1 billion, growing at 11.7%. France, Italy, Russia, they're all important parts of that European market as well.
And I keep hearing about Asia-Pacific being the place for rapid growth in many tech sectors. Does that hold true here?
Oh, absolutely. The report definitely backs that up. APAC, as it's often called, held around 23% of the market in 2025, which is about USD 6,297.96 million.
Okay, so smaller than North America or Europe currently.
Currently, yes. But it's the fastest growing region by a noticeable margin. The projected CGR is a really impressive 15.4% through 2033.
15.4%.
Yeah. China's a huge part of that, obviously, with a market over $2.6 billion growing at nearly 15%. But India actually shows the highest country-specific growth rate mentioned, projected at 17.3% CAGR, starting from a base around 630 million in 2025.
Wow, 17.3. That's definitely something to watch. What about the other regions, South America, Middle East, Africa? Are they significant?
They are smaller, but still growing well. South America is over 5% of the global revenue, almost $1 billion in 2025, with a strong 13.2% CAGR. Brazil leads there.
Okay.
The Middle East is around 2%, just over $1 billion, growing at 13.8%. Saudi Arabia looks particularly strong within that region. And Africa holds about 1%, roughly USD of 577 million in 2025, but still growing respectively at 12.8%. South Africa is a key market there.
So a truly global market, but with some distinct regional growth stories, especially APAC. Okay, we have the what and where. Let's dig into the why. Why is this bioprocess tech market expanding so fast? What are those key drivers?
Right, the core reasons. As we touched on, that demand for biopharmaceuticals is number one. And it's driven by a few things: rising chronic diseases globally, populations getting older and needing more advanced therapies, and the really exciting progress in personalized medicine.
Tailoring treatments to individuals.
Exactly. Which inherently requires more sophisticated biologics and the tech to produce them.
Makes perfect sense. So that's one major driver. What else?
Another huge factor is technology itself, specifically advancements in automation and digitalization. Think AI, the Internet of Things, IoT, machine learning. These are really changing the game in bioprocessing.
Oh, so.
They lead to much better efficiency, greater precision, tighter control over the manufacturing process, and that can help reduce costs in the long run. Imagine AI constantly fine-tuning reactor conditions or sensors feeding back data nonstop.
Yeah, that's a powerful combination, biology meeting advanced computing. Is there a third key driver mentioned?
Yes, there is. The report points to increasing investment in sustainability, greener processes.
Ah, the eco-friendly angle.
Exactly. There's a big push across all industries for more sustainable manufacturing, and bioprocessing is part of that. Companies are looking for ways to cut waste, use resources better, and bioprocess tech is evolving to help with that.
Okay, so strong demand for the products, technological advancements making production better, and a push for sustainability. Sounds like a powerful combination. But are there any roadblocks, any restraints holding things back?
Yes, the report does flag a significant one: high production costs.
Ah, the cost factor.
Right. Developing and making these bioproducts, especially the complex biopharmaceuticals, it's expensive. You've got costly raw materials, the sophisticated equipment itself, plus really strict quality control needed.
And that impacts.
Well, it can be a barrier for smaller companies trying to enter the market, and potentially it affects how affordable these therapies ultimately are for patients or healthcare systems. It's a key challenge.
Yeah, that's a really critical point, balancing innovation with accessibility. Okay, so acknowledging that cost challenge, what about future directions? What are the big trends shaping this market going forward?
One clear trend is that expanding demand for tailored therapies, we mentioned cell and gene therapies, really personalized medicine. This requires even more advanced, often more flexible, maybe smaller scale bioprocessing setups.
So more specialization.
Definitely. And alongside that, there's this continuous drive for better efficiency. That means more automation, yes, but also smarter data-driven optimization, using real-time analysis, AI for prediction and control, IoT connecting everything up seamlessly.
It really paints a picture of very precise, very data-intensive manufacturing. So who are the companies leading the charge here? Who are the big players?
Well, the report mentions several established names. You've got giants like Merck, Thermo Fisher Scientific, Danaher Corp. These companies provide a lot of the essential infrastructure, bioreactors, filtration systems, the analytical instruments needed for quality control.
The enabling technologies.
Exactly. And the landscape is very dynamic. Lots of collaborations between companies, acquisitions happening, and of course, huge investments in R&D to stay ahead.
Can you give an example or two of that innovation in action, something specific?
Sure. Thermo Fisher, for instance, back in 2021, launched a specific product, the Gibco CTS Optimizer T-cell expansion medium. That's designed specifically to help grow T-cells more effectively, which are crucial for many new cell therapies.
Right, directly supporting those cutting-edge treatments.
Precisely. Another one, Corning introduced a 3D clear tissue clearing region in 2020. This helps researchers see inside 3D cell cultures, like mini organs or organoids, much more clearly. Better visualization for research and drug development.
Those are great examples showing how the tools evolve alongside the therapeutic advancements. Okay, let's break the market down a bit further. If we look at specific product types, what stands out?
Looking at the product outlook, the biggest segment is consumables and accessories.
So, the everyday stuff.
Kind of, yeah. Filters, tubing, single-use bags for bioreactors.
Oh.
All the things that get used up or replaced regularly to keep production sterile and ensure quality. Demand for biologics and the shift towards single-use systems really drives this segment.
Makes sense. Anything growing particularly fast in products?
Yes, culture media is highlighted for rapid growth. That's the nutrient soup cells need to grow in. With the rise of biologics, vaccines, and especially cell therapies, the need for high-quality, specialized media is booming. Personalized medicine really fuels this.
Okay. And what about the instruments, the hardware?
On the instrument side, bioprocess analyzers are dominant. These are the tools that monitor things in real time inside the bioreactor: pH, oxygen, glucose levels, etc. Absolutely critical for control and quality.
Maintaining those perfect conditions.
Exactly. And also seeing significant growth are blood gas analyzers. They're important for checking the metabolic health of the cell cultures during the process, adding another layer of precision.
Got it. Now, applications, where's all this technology being used most prominently or growing fastest?
Well, interestingly, the report flags antibiotics, as the fastest growing application segment.
Antibiotics. That's a bit surprising, maybe.
It might seem so, but it's driven by the ongoing global need to combat bacterial infections, especially with the rise of drug-resistant strains. So there's a lot of innovation happening in how antibiotics are produced using bioprocess techniques, making that segment grow quickly.
Okay, that explains it. And the end users.
hmm
Who's buying and using all this tech?
Unsurprisingly, biopharmaceutical companies are the biggest slice of the pie. They're the ones doing the R&D and manufacturing the drugs.
Makes sense.
But the segment seeing very rapid growth is contract manufacturing organizations, or CMOs.
The companies that manufacture for other companies.
Exactly. They offer specialized manufacturing services, often more cost-effectively or at a larger scale than a smaller biotech might manage in-house. As demand for biologics surges, CMOs play a crucial role in providing that production capacity.
So they're becoming increasingly important partners in the ecosystem. Okay, let's pull back for the big picture again. If someone listening needed the single most important takeaway from all this, what would it be?
I'd say the key thing is that this bioprocess technology market is incredibly dynamic and expanding fast. It's really being propelled by two major forces: the growing need for complex biologic therapies worldwide, and the constant improvement in the technologies used to make them efficiently and safely.
And those growth numbers we talked about, that 12.5% CAGR overall, and especially the regional differences like that boom in Asia Pacific, they really highlight just how significant this shift is.
Absolutely. It underlines how central these technologies are becoming to the future of medicine and potentially other bio-based industries, too.
Right. So here's something maybe leave you thinking about. We know personalized medicine and these complex biologics are becoming more central to healthcare. The question is, how will these continuous innovations and making them in bioprocess technology actually shape the future? Not just developing new cures, but making them accessible to people everywhere. It's a big question touching on cost, scale, and global health equity. Definitely something to keep an eye on. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.